Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and pull out the most actionable insights for you. Today we are tackling what is, I think, the single biggest headache for every ambitious artist out there. How do you stop being a hobbyist and actually build a sustainable career in this, well, this completely chaotic digital world?
It's such a high-stakes environment now. I mean, what we're seeing isn't just evolution, it's a total transformation. The old gatekeepers, the labels, the A&R guys, they've pretty much vanished.
Right.
And just to give you some context, streaming now accounts for, something like 75% of all recorded music revenue. That's a huge shift, and it means platforms like TikTok and YouTube, they aren't just marketing tools anymore.
No, they are the A&R reps now. They're the discovery engines. So that sets the stage perfectly. Our mission for this deep dive is to basically give you the blueprint, the foundational strategies that separate the artists who adapt and succeed from the ones who just rely on raw talent. Because I think we've all seen it. The artists who are thriving today aren't always the most talented. They're the most adaptable.
Adaptability is the superpower. It really is. And we can see it in artists who figured this out early. I mean, look at Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
His big moment didn't come from a major record deal. It came because he completely rethought distribution. He deliberately rejected the label system, which, usually demands ownership of your masters. Instead, he built his entire career on free mixtapes and then made these strategic streaming exclusives with Apple Music back when that was a brand new idea.
So the lesson from him wasn't about the music itself, but the actual business model behind it.
Precisely. The key takeaway for you is that distribution models are flexible. You have to prioritize ownership and your own creative control. Now, you compare that to someone like Billie Eilish. She and her brother Phineas, they just leaned into bedroom production, a very DIY feel, and paired it with this raw, unfiltered social media presence.
And that DIY aesthetic, that became her whole brand. It was a huge differentiator.
It was. It showed everyone that the obsession with pristine, expensive studio quality was kind of over. The new focus was on authentic connection. The bedroom sound became her signature. It proved that production value matters way less than a cohesive, genuine identity.
It shifts the focus from mastering one craft to mastering the career itself.
Yes.
And a huge part of mastering the career is dealing with the competition. Which brings us to the biggest challenge of today, the sheer noise. Over 100,000 tracks are uploaded to streaming platforms every single day. Being good just doesn't cut it.
Not at all. And breaking through that noise requires strategy. It starts internally, way before you even think about marketing. We can frame this using what the sources call the IVI framework: identity, vision, and intention.
Okay, let's unpack IV, because this feels like where the real work begins. How does an artist define those three things?
So identity is who you are, your sound, your core influences. Vision is where you're going, like the world you want to build, the feeling you want people to have in 5 years. But intention, I think, is the most powerful part. It's why you're making the music and, crucially, who you are making it for.
And the brand is just the bridge between that inner world and what the audience experiences.
That's it. It translates your art into something people can understand and, really connect with.
I love that idea of building a world, not just a song catalog. And to make that world stand out, the key move is going narrow and deep instead of shallow and wide.
This is so counterintuitive for most artists. They want to appeal to everyone. But if you just call yourself a folk singer, your identity is vague, your marketing is all over the place, and you're lost in a sea of other folk singers.
Fans have no reason to choose you specifically.
Right.
But this is where it gets so powerful. If you go deep, you stop being a generic folk artist and you become something like the acoustic folk artist writing love songs for single women in their 30s who live in coastal cities.
And that specificity, that is your entire competitive advantage. It creates this immediate, almost visceral emotional connection for that listener. Suddenly, your marketing is laser-focused. You know exactly which hashtags to use, which playlists to target, and you build a much stronger community because those fans feel completely seen.
Okay, so once you have that super specific identity, you make it tangible. Let's talk merchandise. We have to frame merch not just as a way to make money, but as world building.
Correct. Your merch is the physical part of your world. It's how fans wear their connection to your story. If your music is all 80s neon synthwave, then your t-shirts, your posters, your whole visual identity has to reinforce that. Consistency is key.
So what's the starting strategy? You don't need a massive online store from day one.
Oh, absolutely not. Start small. Pick 2 or 3 core products, a really high quality t-shirt, maybe some vinyl, and like a custom enamel pin that ties into a specific lyric. And then here's the important part. You expand based on data. Don't guess what your fans want. Let their wallets tell you.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Okay, let's shift to execution. We've defined the world, now we need to promote it without burning out. Your digital footprint is everything now. It's your press kit, your tour manager, your A&R team, all in one. And the key strategy here is something called platform prioritization.
Which just means focusing your energy. You cannot be everywhere at once. It's impossible. You have to pick the 1, 2, maybe 3 platforms where your very specific niche audience is already spending their time. If your audience is single women in their 30s, maybe you prioritize Instagram and a good email newsletter over, say, Twitch.
Right. And once you've picked those platforms, the sheer amount of content you need to create can feel, well, paralyzing.
Yeah.
How do you stay consistent?
You have to have a system. And that system should be built on the 80-20 rule. 80% of what you post has to provide value and build engagement. Behind-the-scenes stuff, personal stories, humor, tutorials, only 20% should be direct promotion, like, hey, buy my new song.
And the mantra here is consistency over perfection, right? It's better to post something good every day than something perfect once a month.
For sure. The algorithms reward consistency, and your audience builds a habit around it. And to manage that, you use a content calendar built around monthly campaigns. So you're not just posting random stuff. You're creating a story. Week 1 is all about anticipation for a new song. Week 3 is the release. Week 4 is all about sharing fan content and building community.
Because it's a conversation. Social media is a conversation, not a megaphone. Which means you actually have to engage. You have to be a bit vulnerable. Share the struggles too, not just the wins.
There's a great pro tip on this.
Yeah.
You should aim to spend 80% of your time on social media engaging with people, replying to comments, sharing their posts, and only 20% of your time actually posting your own content.
That ratio seems so backward, but it builds incredible trust.
It really does.
And you can't talk about creating all this content without bringing up the elephant in the room, AI. This is where it goes from a buzzword to an essential tool for your workflow.
Exactly. AI is your creative partner. It handles the repetitive, time-consuming tasks so you can focus on the art and on that 80% engagement. It's about efficiency.
Okay, but here's the big question. If 80% of our content needs to be authentic, doesn't using AI risk making everything feel generic? Doesn't that undermine the trust we just talked about?
That's a crucial distinction. You use AI for optimization, not creation. So take a tool like Opus.pro. You upload, say, an hour-long interview you did. The AI automatically finds and clips the 10 or 15 most viral-ready short videos for your socials. It even gives them a viral score to predict how they'll do. You still had to create the authentic content. The AI just did the tedious editing in minutes.
That's a huge time saver.
Yeah.
What about something like music videos?
You've got tools like LyricSync AI. Manually animating lyrics on a video can take hours. This tool does it automatically. The ethical stance is always the same. Use AI as a starting point, but always add your own human touch. Be transparent. The human element has to be the final say.
Optimization versus replacement. That's the key.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about money. We have to move people from being casual listeners to being real, devoted supporters. This is where the real music career funnel comes in.
Right. The funnel is all about moving people through stages of commitment. They start as streamers, just casual listeners. Then they become tippers. Maybe they buy a track on Bandcamp. And then concert goers, then merch buyers, and finally, they become VIPs or members of your fan club.
And the big insight here is that a few dedicated fans are worth so much more than thousands of casual ones. This is the superfan strategy.
Absolutely. 1,000 true superfans can generate a 6-figure income for you. 100,000 passive streamers might only generate a few $100s. You can spot these superfans. They're the ones always commenting, coming to every show in their city, making fan art.
So when you spot them, you have to reward them, right, to deepen that bond?
Yes, and you have to be deliberate about it. Create exclusive experiences. This means a private Discord server, a VIP listening party for your new album before anyone else hears it, limited edition merch just for them. It makes them feel like stakeholders in your career.
Which brings us to the biggest trap, vanity metrics. The temptation to just buy followers and likes. Why is that so harmful?
It's actively self-sabotage because those fake followers will never, ever move down the funnel. They'll never stream your music, never buy a ticket. They completely corrupt your analytics, so you have no idea what real people actually like. And honestly, venues and promoters can spot it a mile away. It just destroys your credibility.
So relying on streaming income is a dead end. It only addresses that very top, very shallow part of the funnel.
It can't be your only plan. You have to diversify your revenue. Your core streams should be, yes, streaming, but also Licensing and sync deals for TV and ads, live performances, and direct fan support through things like Patreon or Kickstarter.
And even with streaming being huge, live performance is still the foundation, especially for independent artists.
It's the primary engine. It's where you connect directly with those superfans. And critically, on tour, your merch table is often your biggest source of profit.
Which is why the tour budget is so important to understand. Can we just run through that breakdown again?
Of course, for a typical indie tour, you're looking at roughly 35% of your budget going to transportation, gas, the van, and so on. About 25% is for lodging, 20% is for food and per diems, and that last 20%, that's for merchandise production.
And the implication there is massive.
It's everything. That 20% you spend on merch up front is the only part of the budget that is an investment designed to generate profit. It pays for the other 80%. If you skimped on merch, you're basically planning to fail.
That is such a clear way to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, as we wrap up, we've really built a three-pillar framework here. First, adaptability through finding your niche. Second, consistent, authentic content made efficient with AI. And third, fan conversion that leads to diversified revenue.
And holding all that together is just good self-management. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Talent gets you in the door, but systems and discipline are what keep you in the room.
That's the perfect final thought for you to take away. Longevity means prioritizing systems over motivation. There's a saying, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So ask yourself, are you building daily, repeatable systems for your creativity, for your promotion, even for your health? Systems that will keep you going for the next 10 years, even when inspiration runs dry.
Stay curious, stay flexible, and above all, just keep creating. That authenticity, combined with smart adaptability, will take you further than any algorithm ever could.